welcome to my return to the Badlands video. This is going to be slightly different to what I'd originally planned. Unfortunately, I'm not allowed to do much in the way of filming inside Warhammer World, so instead what you're going to get is a series of kind of aftermatch reports from the players, along with a load of photos of how the games went. Hope you enjoy. Let's see what happens in this quest to vanquish Batface the Bloody and clear the Badlands of his evil curse once and forever.
My first game of the weekend then was an ambush mission. For a quick reminder of how that works is one player starts out with only 2/3 of the forces of the other player, and they have to set up in a kind of column of march where they then get attacked. I chose to use my Bretonnians as the ambusher, very chivalrous I'm sure, ambushing an Empire line that was smuggling what appears to have been a kidnapped Bretonnian Pegasus. This was my friend Dave's army, made up of his classic Empire stuff from when we used to play as kids back in the 90s. First things first, I moved my Bretonnian army forward across the board, just kind of edging the peasants through the puddle of mud, and then taking some pot shots at his flagellants. This was a precursor to using the speed of Lycos to swoop one of my characters over across the board and straight into combat with his pistoliers. I then did exactly the same thing again the following turn, using the Baron to attack his handgunners, driving that unit off the board and allowing my Baron to sweep round and position himself behind the pistoliers. Meanwhile, I used the Bretonnian Knights and the Grail Knights to massacre most of the flagellants. Two of them survived the combat and then proceeded to last for like the next 3 turns, refusing to die, until eventually I had to send my damsel in to finish them off. The crossbowmen tried charging my unit in the flank. It didn't go so well for them. My questing knights, meanwhile, charged his general's unit of swordsmen, which didn't go quite so well for them. That general was pretty rough. The questing knights fled a whopping 16 inches across the board, and the swordsmen pursued into the flank of the Grail Knights, where they then repeated their trick, killing 3 of the Grail Knights as well. In the end, though, it was a stonking victory for the Bretonnians. The Grail Knights turned round, butchered some of the swordsmen. Meanwhile, my general went and finished off the Empire hero that was riding around on the stolen Pegasus, only for the Pegasus to flee off the board, with my general pursuing it, kind of yelling, "Come back, I'm here to rescue you!"
Okay, so Ben, what happened in your game?
Well, so my game, I played my friend Dave, who...
I would like to point out that my Empire army were on a peaceful diplomatic mission to somewhere, and they were cruelly ambushed by Darth Petronia.
They were very clearly illegally smuggling Pegasi across the border.
Just one Pegasus.
Illegal transmission of restricted goods. So we played the ambush army. I should mention, Dave is one of my oldest friends. We've played Fantasy loads when I was a kid. When I talk in my other videos about, oh yeah, when we used to play as kids, this is who I'm talking about. And yeah, we played probably your first game of Fantasy in about 2 decades.
Something like that.
With the same army that we used to use.
Pretty much.
And we played an ambush mission, which we diced off to see who was the ambushed and who was the ambusher. I think that may well have decided the game there and then, because it meant that Dave started out with 2/3 of his army as opposed to the full sort of Empire battle line. And they also had to set up in a line of march going down the length of the board edge, with Bretonnians 18 inches away from their flanks, ready to charge in the lance formation. You can only imagine Michael's face at the moment as he's imagining those pointy wedges thundering towards those unprotected flanks.
Fortunately, most of them funded into a unit of flagellants, which stayed doggedly to the last man. And I think about 3 whole turns.
They were tough, those last 2. I mean, so both, in the second turn, both the Knights of the Realm and the Grail Knights smashed into the flagellants. They killed all bar 2 of them. But of course, flagellants don't break, and those 2 flagellants then hung around for like another 2 turns. I think that we didn't finish them off till turn 4 in the end, and it took the Bretonnian damsel to ride in with a magic scythe and finish them off.
And I think my high point was my general challenge the charging damsel to a challenge,
yep.
and fortunately managed to slay the evil magic user. But that was some small consolation for the unit then breaking and being broke down And I think in that turn, my entire diplomatic force was
Smugglers!
wiped out to a man by the pursuing Patronians.
I mean, that unit did really well. So that was a unit of swordsmen with the Empire General, with the Ogre Blade, and the Battle Standard Bearer in there. And, I mean, yeah, they killed 3 of the Questing Knights and broke the Questing Knights and sent them herring off back on the board, which panicked the Squires, who were lurking in some mud near a carnival hut, and they went taking it off the board. Then they killed half the Grail Knights as well. That unit really did some work. I just couldn't break the Grail Knights, and therefore then when the damsel rode in with her magic scythe, she took 2 wounds off the Empire General, but was then chopped to bits by the Empire General. But that was something that was still enough for her to kill the Battle Standard Bearer as well, break the unit, and let the remaining Grail Knights run them down.
And it's worth marking that we had a Pegasus each, and they're currently unaccounted for because they both fled off the board.
Both Pegasi may have lost their riders and just naffed off into the distance somewhere. The Bretonnian general tried to restrain pursuit but failed and just carried on off after the the Empire Pegasus, yelling, "Come back, mes amis! I am here to rescue you and repatriate you!" But yeah, your Pegasus hero did really well, just charged in and just bang! I failed 2 3-up saves, and that was it. My hero was gone. The Empire General, the Bretonnian General remained as destructive as ever, smashing apart units. But yeah, I did not get as quick a victory as I was expecting. I think in the end it was about half the victory points to the Empire Army, 15 victory points to the Bretonnian Army, but the Empire Army was wiped out. But cool, yeah, okay, so that's our first game, and let's go and get some more games in, guys.
Next up then was a spot of kin strife. This was Michael's High Elves against Nathan's classic Dark Elf army, and this was fought on one of the lovely scenic boards at Warhammer World. I'm not going to spoil the outcome for you. I will let them tell you about it in their own words now.
Okay, guys, cool. So, tell me, what happened in your first game this morning?
Well, it was a High Elf win, sadly. Lost to the Dark Elves.
Your first win, Michael.
First win in 5th edition ever.
I'm happy to do that for you.
We had some of the worst rolling I've ever seen from the Dark Elves. It was incredibly unlucky, but still very tight game. Came down to, I think, I charged with my general and managed to take out his general in the first round of combat, which still, and my general still nearly died. So he was in combat with around a unit of Cold Run riders. Kept losing the combat, being driven off and charging again, which is to his advantage for his magical weapon.
Yeah, it was great. It was like, I'm doing okay in combat, but oh no, just run away and then you charge me again. With an automatically hitting Dragon Lance.
Yep.
So it was kind of like, oh, you didn't win combat, but you're just going to kill some more guys. So it's all good.
My Eagles got kicked to death by some lizards.
Yeah, that's true.
The Cold Ones killed the Cold Ones were much more effective in fighting than the Riders, of course.
Yeah.
What else happened? Everything else was very tight. Oh, you had your Hydra.
Hydra didn't do very much. No, he got Glamour of Checklist.
He was stupid.
He was bound monster, so he didn't do
failed.
his thing like for a couple of turns. And then this Glamour of Checklist basically meant that you got to control him, and he ran away basically.
And did the Elven enmity play any role? Hatred by Dark Elves?
Because they didn't run away.
Yeah, the Cold Ones just stuck around for the entire time, getting blatted basically for 3 rounds.
So we played 5 turns, called at the end of turn 5. So it was a long game, but there was a lot of models still on the table.
Yeah. It was actually a lot closer than I think it seemed towards the end. It could have gone either way.
Did you work out the victory points at the end, or did you just kind
We did it.
It was a clear winner.
I broke the Harpies, which was the last kind of major unit on the board, and they called it.
Yeah.
So, what was the extra territory that was generated?
It was, I just said it.
Ruin.
The Ruin, yeah.
Oh, Ruin! So, okay, so you
So
claimed the
I
Ruin.
took the Ruin, you took your forest back,
Yeah, got my forest.
and I kept my trade route.
So you've still got a chance then in the next round generating a Relic of Kadon.
Yeah, and I technically could get a different magical item, which...
Yeah, you could also get just a free magic item to help boost your army in the next game.
Yep.
Cool, okay. Well, thanks very much, guys. We'll move on to the next team.
The next matchup was probably one of my favourite games to watch over the weekend. This was Gary from Arbiter Ian's Tale of 4 Gamers against Mike from my Tale of 4 Gamers with his gorgeous Forge World Vermeer army against Mike's teeming Skaven hordes. It was a great game to watch. Here we go.
Okay, guys, so how did your game go this morning?
Yeah, it went really well. It's a really fun game. I didn't win. Lots of leadership tests all over the board. Skaven do not like terror-causing dragons landing in the middle of the army.
Dragons in the middle is what dragons do best.
Yes. You froze multiple units repeatedly. Like one of them, I think, was frozen for 4 turns. So.
Yeah, so White Dragon doing a lot of frozen sort of gave my army time to maneuver and stuff. But everything came undone when the Doom wheels.
The pair of Doom wheels driving through an army.
Yeah, I got a troll completely electrified, killed him, one-shotted.
Yeah, well that was a giant. Yeah, giant got electrocuted by a Doom wheel.
My rock lovers were good. One hit every time, the other one missed every time, so pretty good orc shooting.
Well, I guess with big units of Skaven, you've got some fairly large targets to hit with the stone throwers.
Yeah, but even then, you're only hitting 9 models in a 30-strong plan rat unit, so they didn't care too much.
Best moment for the Orcs and Goblins / Ogre Famir?
I think when my cockatrice petrified one of his Doom wheels, turning into stone, plus not working.
Large stone hamster wheel now in the middle of the board.
Yeah.
What about for the Skaven?
It would be the Warlock Engineer casting Crack's Call on the last turn and hitting the dragon with it and it falling down to its death.
That would be an anything but a 6 moment?
Anything but a 6, and I rolled a 6.
Yeah.
So, victory for the Skaven.
Was indeed.
This is their first game as well, I take it, because you've not played a practice game with them on this.
No, first game for the Skaven, and yeah, it was touch and go right the way through until pretty much the last turn, and that Crack's Call.
Yeah,
I think we were talking like
it's a climatic moment that it definitely lived up to it.
I realise we have essentially a rival 4-gamers thing going on here, because it's my Tale of 4-gamers versus Ian for Tale of 4-gamers. It's 1-0 so far to our Tale of 4-gamers. Willard is now playing Ian in game 2, so we'll see whether or not he can keep up the streak.
Right.
Excellent.
And I'm going to try and play Bobby tomorrow for a further competition on it. Cool. Thanks, guys. Let's get on in game 2 then.
Yes.
Another 4-gamers matchup came next. Ian himself against Willard, who actually had some painted beastmens. I'll have some more pictures of his beastmen in my next Tale of 4-gamers video, but in the meantime, here's them talking about their game.
Oh.
Okay, so second game of Tale of 4-gamers off.
Second game off.
Game off, yes. How did it go, guys?
Well, it's also not just the second Tale of 4-gamers off. In the last year, I was defeated in the final showdown by Batface the Blood.
By Bat on the temple board.
I know.
Which I have now claimed as Batface's Batlands.
Yeah. So I returned.
I've only played on there. The whole day I've only been playing on that.
So I returned to the Batlands.
Yes.
To retrieve my honour. And did I retrieve my honour, Ian?
Did not.
No.
I mean, you were sort of screwed over by a bad mission choice.
When you say choice,
we rolled a flanking assault. You lost a third of your army.
Yeah, so I decided brilliantly to leave my giant and knight off the board so they could come on later.
Right.
And fight the Bloodthirster with all my beastmen. But basically, they just fed Batface Bloody a load of beastmen.
Yeah, but he went through eating beastmen.
Yeah, he killed about 80 beastmen.
Yeah, it's true.
Over the course of the game. But it was a fun game.
And I used the power of Khorne to stop you using all your spells.
So yeah, I spent 800 points on beastmen who all died, 800 points on knights and giants who spent the entire game off the board. But then fortunately I had 600 points of wizard, and my wizard with their 4 familiars. And every single time I would be like, I cast all this magic, and Ian would just go, I actually need to roll a 6 to dispel it and stop it from working.
And
Khorne
was with him.
Every time Khorne was with him.
Yeah.
Every single, I managed to cast a single spell on turn 4.
Yeah.
But no other magic worked. So yeah, it turns out Khorne's the best character.
And you didn't actually have all 4 of your familiars either, did you?
No, I didn't have all 4 of my familiars. Although one of my familiars did something awesome, which is why...
in the traditional Feud of the Gods duel that happens before the game.
Yeah.
I picked the sorcerer, and of course the warrior familiar stepped in.
Yeah, so basically...
And got heroically killed.
So the way it works is essentially there's a chaos reward that means that the 2 generals have to fight at the beginning of the game. And what happened was my general had to fight. But of course, the warrior familiar, the tiny chaos warrior, he's obliged to leap in front of his master anytime his master's threatened. So I was like...
Heroically stomped by a bloodthirster.
Yeah, and it was good. Otherwise I'd have been murdered by a bloodthirster. And I wasn't murdered by a bloodthirster, so he was well worth 25 points.
So Batface the Bloody currently still holds the Batlands. 3 for 3. Has not lost a game. He will, I'm sure, lose one tomorrow.
And so in terms of gamer off, it's 1-1 so far.
Yeah.
One to Ian's, one to my gamers.
I've let the side down.
Oh.
Very sorry.
Shouldn't have played Gary in the last one. Cool.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks a lot.
There were many beautiful armies present at this weekend's event, and if you stay tuned to the end of this video, I'll do a little bit of a showcase of just some great army shots that were taken over the course of the weekend. But one army that is worthy of mention is Jack's Dogs of War. Let me say this, whoever painted them for you, Jack, they are beautiful. I love a good Dogs of War army, and this was a game which involved, well, I'll let Jack and me tell you all about it in a few moments, but suffice to say, as you can see from the pictures, things went very well for the Bretonians, all told. Not so well for the Dogs of War. This was a treasure hunt scenario, which I've never played before, and I'd like to try it again, because it was a lot of fun. So in the meantime, though, here's me and Jack telling you all about our game. Okay, so my second game was against Jack here. In case you hadn't guessed, it was Bretonians versus Dogs of War. We played the treasure hunt scenario, which I've never played before. General idea behind that is that you each pick a speed that your army is moving at, declare it simultaneously. Whoever picked the higher number, they start the game with the treasure. But then you have to roll 2d6 for each unit in your army and beat that number to see whether or not that unit appears in the eventual battle. I picked 4 because I thought 4 was a reasonable speed to move at. I could probably roll over 4 if he picked lower. You picked 5.
I picked 5 thinking that I would normally pick 4 and that you probably would pick something like 4, so I picked 5.
Well thought out. How many of your units did not turn up?
None.
All of his army turned up. I lost my Grail Knights, who we have worked out must have, I don't know, seen an orphanage being attacked by trolls or something and decided to go off and...
some vital work
Yeah,
for the lady,
clearly
some
something,
good
a chapel that needed the ceiling painting or whatever. So they diverted and did not take part in the game. So your general started off with the treasure chest.
He did, yeah.
And whoever holds the treasure chest at the end of the game gets double their victory points. It was all squared up then. I got the first turn. I zoomed across the board, looming over him, waited for the Bretonian army, for the Dogs of War army to hammer me with crossbows and everything else. And yeah, your first turn, what happened?
So first turn didn't quite go to plan. I hadn't quite deployed my marksman the way that I should have, so they spent a lot of time turning around looking for the bad guys. Did see them, but couldn't shoot. Although I did get some nice shots off with the besiegers.
You did, yes.
So I took, I think, half of your...
Half my questing knights killed in a single round of shooting.
And then I thought, well, he's going to attack me with those big unit of knights.
Death Star unit of Knights of the Realm.
So I thought death or glory. So I charged my Badlands knights forward, and it was death, not glory, that I found.
So I had
those lances.
The virtual knightly ardor, which means that I get to countercharge a unit that charged me. So we met simultaneously. And I think you killed 2 of my knights?
I did, yeah. I got 2, and I thought that's a good start. That was a less good start for me. Yeah.
And Voland's Venators then ran away.
Yeah.
Which wouldn't have been much of a problem except for panic checks. What happened?
So I did a panic check for everybody in the army. Pretty much everyone in the army was in distance.
Nearby,
I think it was like everybody except
the light cavalry on the wing.
Yeah, were not in. But it was like pass. Oh, the wizard. Oh no, fail. And he just left. He didn't just leave the building. He left the country.
Exit stage left.
Absolutely gone. So there we were, end of turn 1, and I was like, oh, no magic. This will be interesting.
Took a downturn for the Dogs of War from there. I mean, to be fair, you basically reduced me down to just my Knights of the Realm. So the questing knights charged the besiegers, lost 2 of their own for no casualties to the besiegers, ran away. And then shot in the back.
Next round or something.
The Knights Errant, we tried to find out what happens if you charge a unit of Knights Errant into a pike block in heavy armour. And the answer is the Knights Errant just die.
Yeah, they turned into cherry squishy.
Yep. But my Bretonian hero on Pegasus swooped down, charged into his general, did 2 wounds, took a wound in return.
That was a bit of a general whiff moment for me, unfortunately. I had cunning on my general, thinking, I'll get the first turn, I'll just slash him to pieces. I've got the Dragon Blade doubling my hits.
Yep.
And it just
I made enough
went
saves.
nowhere. Yeah, it just all went nowhere.
But so we were both left on 1 wound.
Yeah, both on 1 wound.
And then the difference in magic began to take its toll, shall we say.
A little bit.
Total power cast, Revenge of Chicken Boona on your general.
Although, because it was total power, even if I had a wizard, it wouldn't have made a difference.
So that exit your general.
Nobody panicked from that, though. You did a panic check for everybody.
I don't think for the rest of the game that anybody panicked. I think I passed every panic test every time for every unit.
Yeah, basically.
It was just the wizard. He ran.
But then, so the rest of the game was then the marksman and Maragliano kind of shuffling their facing as my units zoomed around them in different directions.
They did get off one round of shooting at your lady.
They did. They took a wound off her.
They took one wound off her, which was a little bit disappointing. But
she's
a bright, heavenly,
She is a tough lady. She took out a couple of the pikemen with spell. She took out some of the marksmen with the spell, and most of the unit of the skink pole riders.
Yeah, she did a really solid, smashing job, actually.
Meanwhile, we decided to find out what happens when a much better unit of knights charge the pike block, and the answer to that is...
Well, I think that's... What really happened was your general called out
a challenge!
Rico said, okay lads, this is how a hero dies, walked out and got cut to effing pieces.
He did get very horribly mullered.
And you had something like 12 overkills on me, and then I whiffed all my pike wounds.
Nobody made any attacks.
Not yet. Well, I made something like 10 attacks and no wounds.
Yep.
It was just awful fighting on their part.
So they fled and got run down.
They did, yeah.
And yeah, then I think the game ended
Quite
with my knights riding. Oh, hang on, the guy on the Pegasus though.
Oh, the chicken Pegasus.
Yes, so the Pegasus rider scooped up the treasure that the general from the Dogs of War had been hoarding, and we looked at him and went, well, can he go in that building? And the rules say as long as the model will fit in the building,
he can go in the building.
Can go in.
Turns out a man on a Pegasus can conveniently fit in a small house.
Well, we looked at him and I mean, if his wings were kind of furled in, then he would walk through the door.
Ben did that at the time as well.
Yeah, he's got to do it. Yeah, so he kind of ducked himself down and kind of chicken style walked through the door and then just camped out in the little wooden shack for the rest of the game.
It was the smart play. It really was. There's no point leaving him outside.
But so holding the treasure chest at the end meant I doubled my victory points. I killed, I think, between capturing standards and killing the general, I got 13 victory points, which just doubled to 26. And I think you scored 7.
I got 7 because I managed to kill quite a few of your units. I didn't capture any standards.
No.
Problem was I was killing them, not chasing them.
Yeah, you were shooting them to death.
Yeah,
That's
shooting them and chasing them with light cavalry.
Yeah. So yeah,
killing them.
Another resounding victory for the Bretonians. Join me for some more updates for some of the other players in a few moments.
I consider this next game to be one of my favourites from over the weekend. It was one I was really looking forward to. I got to play 2 of my friends, Bobby, with her amazing vampire counts from Arbiter Ian's Tale of 4 Gamers, and Lee, who's appeared doing various Mordheim things with me and will hopefully be doing more Mordheim things on my channel in the future. This was, I think, a great showcase of the 3 different painting styles that were prevalent during 5th edition fantasy. So we had my Bretonians that were kind of, I think, of the heavy metal style. They were the style that appeared in the army books. We had Lee's Chaos Warriors that he's painted up using the newest models, but the great classic red period style paint scheme that was made famous by Slambo and some of the other Chaos Warriors. And then Bobby's Undead, which is that darker style that was just coming in at the end of 5th edition as 6th edition was launching, that kind of set the tone for the slightly grittier and grimmer, grimdark version of fantasy that would be represented in 6th. So yeah, here we go.
Oh, right, so first game of day 2 then was a 3-way game between myself, the mighty Chaos Avenging Lord Lee, and my friend Bobby, the Dark Vampirus. We played a slightly made up scenario. It was kind of based on the 3-player scenario from White Dwarf, the Battle of Maison Tal. Essentially what we had was we kind of rolled up to see what order we would go in, and then we each took it in turns going around the board with a kind of king of the hill objective of a Chaos Hill in the middle of the board to see whoever held it at the end of the game got 5 victory points. I feel somewhat ganged up on by the forces of Chaos and the Undead in this game.
The first charge was my Undead, my White Cavalry into the
was
Chaos.
It? I suppose.
Yeah. And you charged my Manticore Witcher Zombie Dragon.
Yeah?
Yeah, we fought ourselves.
Okay, well, it did not, let us say, work particularly well for the Bretonians. I got charged by the Chaos Lord on the Manticore. I counter-charged, but the Chaos Lord at initiative 9 went first.
Didn't care, yeah.
5 wounds later on the Bretonian Lord, and he's dead. The Chaos Chariot killed my Damsel, which means that you stole my Relic of Kadon, securing you a place in the final round against Batface the Bloody. How did the Zombie Dragon and the Vampire Lord do against the Chaos Lord?
Very poorly. My rolling this whole weekend has been atrocious, like statistically anomalously atrocious. I put a few wounds on you, but didn't go through the saves. And you put 2 wounds on me or something like that? Or
4.
Well, yeah,
On the dragon,
yeah. And combat resolution, she decided she'd had enough and disappeared.
The questing knights also fled, and both of them were run down by the Chaos Lord on his Manticore.
Yeah, who was unkilled in games this weekend.
And in fact refused to fly away during our game.
Yeah.
Manticore refused to do a runner.
The only time the Manticore did a runner was game 3 yesterday, where it basically killed loads of stuff anyway, and the Manticore just had enough.
My army, on the other hand, the Knights Errant ran away from the zombies. The Knights of the Realm, led by the Baron, ran away from the Chaos Lord. The Bretonnian Bowmen of Bergerac ran away from a Chaos Knight. But the only thing in my army that did not run away was the Squires,
In the tower.
who happily sat sniping at your Ungors for the entire game.
Yeah, just hidden in the tower.
At the end of the game, the Ungors charged the Squires in the tower, and what happened?
They ran away.
The Ungors ran away! So clearly, I should just take an army composed entirely of Squires.
And towers.
You actually kept hold of the relic till the final game of the weekend,
Yep.
then, and you challenged Batface the Bloody for Lordship of the Badlands.
Did, yeah. Lord of Corn to Lord of Corn.
How did that go for you?
Majestically, yeah.
Yeah? You're now Lord of the Badlands, then?
Yeah, in spirit.
What actually happened?
Very much in spirit. He got creamed. I just barreled straight towards him. I'm not messing around with staying out of charge ranges and stuff. There was some high elves farting around and staying out of the charge ranges. Nope. In I go. Ran towards him, and he just leapt off his tower and killed the Lord immediately. And then wrestled the Manticore while the high elves all turned up. It didn't go well. I need a Bloodthirster next year.
Yeah, clearly you need a Bloodthirster. Well, if you'd only killed Batface, you would have won one this year.
Yeah, but that's an old one. I got to do a new one.
Oh no, you have to do the giant Lord one.
I'm not sure how you're going to perch that on
a tiny square base.
50 or 40.
50 mil square base.
Lead.
Just cast the 50 mil square base out of lead.
A big pile of lead first.
Skulls.
Lead skulls.
Yes.
Skulls, there we are.
Cool. All right, thanks, guys.
Cool.
Okay, so yeah, you guys decided to have a Tale of Four Gamers style throwdown.
Yep.
And it was Chaos v Chaos, Batface versus what's your Chaos Lord called, Ross?
Kovor the All-Seeing.
There we are.
And
Let's have a name. We're just going to.
how did it go?
Well, the first turn I flew Batface on a mountain, and the second turn you flew at your guy on a mountain, hit him with a sword of change and turned him into a spawn, and then exploded from power of chaos.
Pretty much that.
So hang on, so
That was it, really.
you simultaneously killed, well not killed, you transformed Ian's general and killed your own.
Well, not simultaneously. I thought, in the spirit of having turned his general into a Chaos spawn, I should use the spell Power of Chaos, even though it could then kill me.
And it did.
Which it did.
Yeah.
Proving clearly Chaos is its own undoing.
Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah.
Batface got better.
He did.
And I escaped with an escape card.
Yeah.
So it's all right. Nobody got hurt.
Cool. Well, hopefully we'll see, well, not Batface back next year at the next year's Badlands event or whatever we end up playing. But
Batface will not return. He has successfully defended the Batlands by killing a Chaos Lord, a big cuddly lion thing, some elf, and the chicken he rode on, and then got killed by his second black amulet. So Batface is now like, all right, maybe next year we'll see the return of like Cowface the Sexy or Birdface the Sneaky or someone
Batface
like
can't
that.
return because doesn't he have to spend 10,000 years in the warp?
Yeah,
now?
he spent 10,000 years in the warp. We might not be playing 5th edition then.
Yeah. I might bring Dogface the Bloodier next year.
Dogface the Bloodier. Yeah.
Ooh.
Depends if I get the entire army painted. But it's all contrast painted.
I think Batface. Yeah, I think next year he'll have to be avenged by someone else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so Michael, you managed to hold on to your relic the entire weekend.
Yep.
And did you challenge Batface the Bloody for Lordship of the Badlands?
I did.
How did that go for you?
Well, I nearly killed him. Well, in fact, so I had the what's it called? Black Amulet. So
solid cheese.
My general had the Dragonblade Lance, which means it could hit automatically on a charge, and its potion of strength, which would be 5 strength, 9 hits. But I didn't charge because I'm an idiot and forgot I had the Black Amulet. So Batface charged me, and I did 5 wounds, but rebounded 5 wounds out of 8. But unfortunately, the other 3 killed me. So Batface went on to be killed by a different high elf with a Black Amulet later on.
See,
But I did the hard work, I would say. 5 or 6 of the wounds.
I mean, unfortunately, it's a shame that he got himself bumped off by the other high elf before you got a chance, because you could have come back from the dead.
Yeah, my relic would have brought me. So I technically didn't die, so the general couldn't come back next year. It's a challenge for the Badlands, but
Yep.
but he didn't get it this time.
So we played quite a few practice games, and you did not do so well in any of the practice games.
No, but I now have a wizard that I picked up, and more points and more magic items. So we should have a rematch and see how it goes.
Definitely. I think next battle report video we do is going to be a rematch, a refight of the last battle report, but using our end of the campaign armies as opposed to our before the campaign starts armies.
And probably more correct rules. Not probably all of them, but more correct rules.
Cool. So yeah, that's pretty much it for Return to the Badlands. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I'm going to just finish off by showcasing some photos from some of the other armies that were there over the weekend that I didn't get a chance to take photos of in-game or talk to the players on camera. But I just want to show off some of the beautiful armies that we had there over the course of the weekend. There were 3 High Elf armies, 4 Chaos armies, 2 Undead armies, 2 Empire armies, Bretonnians, Skaven, and 2 different kinds of Orcs, including Gary's Vermeer-style Ogres. I just want to showcase some of the beautiful paint jobs, really, as we finish out. Thanks for watching this video. Hope you've enjoyed it. I'm going to just play you out with a bit of music and some beautiful miniatures, and I will, as ever, catch you next time. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.